Hi everyone, I'd like to talk to you about chakras. Now chakras, also called chakras, are referred to basically the spinning vortexes or spinning wheels of energy that reside within our body. So this comes from the Indian tradition where they say that we have 7 main chakras and they align along the spine. Now each of those balls of energy is responsible for different organs throughout the body, but also different emotional traits or states that we're in, and basically they govern all those parts of the body and the emotions that are attached to those metaphysically. So I have a photo here, and this photo, and I've got to be mindful that it doesn't just take all the light out of the video. I'll see if I can bring it in a little closer. Although the colors are not as clear here, you'll see that the root chakra or the base chakra is red, even though it's not so clear. The sexual or sacral chakra is orange. The solar plexus chakra is yellow. The heart chakra, even though you can't see that so clearly, is really green. It's a beautiful emerald green. The throat chakra is blue. The third eye chakra is indigo, and the crown here, it looks like it's white there. Some traditions will say it's white, but others will say it's violet. And I tend to think of it as violet because that's what I see when I'm doing work with clients. So each of those centers, as I said, is aligned along the spine. Now, the lady who wrote the book, Hands of Light, many of you will have heard of her if you're in the healing traditions, if you're working with energy and healing. And Barbara Ann Brennan was a physicist for NASA. I'm just taking blue tackle. She was a physicist for NASA for many years. But when she was even a small child, around the age of 3, she used to see these energy fields around people, the aura, which is represented by this egg shape around this body. So she used to see auras, she used to see chakras. And as she got older, everybody said, oh, don't be silly, and sort of talked her out of it. So she just closed off that part of her psychic vision. And as she got older, as I said, she worked as a physicist for NASA for many years. But then those visions came back, her sight came back, and her intuition came back, and it really then got her back on the path of working energetically with clients. And so this is another vision, another picture that she's got in her book. And what she basically shows is that the root chakra goes down, the sexual or sacral chakra goes forward and back, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and the crown goes up. And in one of my other videos, I've got a little lesson in how to see auras. And what you'll realize is when we're looking at auras, and it's just something that most of us can do. I teach it in my Reiki workshops. Most of us can do that when we learn how to defocus our eyes. But what we notice is with the crown, you do actually see that V that comes up. And as a person sits in a meditative state for a little longer and expands the aura, it starts to form what we would call a halo. So even just knowing this really just puts a lot more sense to all the photos of Jesus and the 12 disciples, those paintings that we've seen over the years. And what we now realize is that the aura they were painting was actually the crown chakra. So it's kind of cool stuff when you understand this. So with the chakras, the base chakra, as I said, it's at the base of the spine and it points down, and its color is red, and the base chakra is all about survival in the physical world. So it's about feeling safe and strong and grounded. So when that center is out of balance, so it means the wheel's not spinning as fast as it could, or maybe there are energy blocks going on there, it will mean that person feels unsafe, they don't know where they stand, they're just fearful about moving forward, they're worrying about money and survival sort of things that they've got to deal with in their day-to-day life. So that chakra also governs everything below that. So we're talking about the hips, the knees, the legs, the feet. So any issues in that part of the body metaphysically generally means that we've got issues, we don't know where we stand, we've got problems moving forward. We don't feel safe. We feel a little anxious and worried about the future. So there are lots of techniques we use in Reiki, for example, where we clear those chakras, and we can do Reiki balancing, Reiki chakra balancing on patients, also on ourselves. And so the next chakra is orange, and it is 3 finger widths below the belly button. So base chakra here, and the next one is just 3 finger widths below the belly button, and that's the Sacral Chakra, but it's also known as the Sexual Chakra. And so that center is all about expressing your sexuality as a man or a woman, but it's your creative spirit. So this is the center for creativity, where babies come from in that womb. This is our womb of creation. And when we look at that, we realize that it's to do with the way we create in the world. So it's about working with that sharp creative mind and our creative spirit, but it's also about nurturing the self. Now, what I find when I've got clients coming in for Reiki treatment, for example, if I pop them on the bed and if their hands automatically just go here, that tells me that they don't nurture themselves, they nurture everybody else. Because you see, instinctively we are drawn to place our hands on our body in the areas that really need more energy, where there might be a block in that flow of energy. So if you've got a block in your creative spirit, again, those hands may go there. So when we start to understand these chakras a whole lot more, we realize that as we come back into balance, we look at our life differently. So when we want to work on this chakra, when we want to get it unblocked and get things moving, it'll bring us back to a state where we are much more balanced in our life. We're taking time out for ourselves. Time to smell the roses is the way I always sort of think of it. And that might mean working with your creative spirit. So it might be gardening. It might be working artistically with a paintbrush, or it might be writing. It might be building something, whatever that means for you. But when you work with your creative spirit, you also then tap into your subconscious mind a whole lot more, and it just opens you up to feel lighter and release the cares of the day. So that creative spirit is really important, because often I'll find that women have this center not balanced, it's out of balance, and generally it might be spinning inactively or underactively, and it means that we are trained as little children, little girls, that our job is to nurture everybody else and put ourselves last. And then when we grow up and we have a family, of course, women, whether we like it or not in our modern world, women generally are the ones that are the most responsible for looking after the little children. And it is in our nature, that's what we're born to do. When we have a child and that baby is put in our arms, not only are we kind of working with that part of our energy anatomy, but our heart chakra opens so much. And basically that's Mother Nature's way of making sure that we're going to look after that little child. But I know with all 3 of my children, and even with my grandchildren, when that child is born, the oxytocin changes in your bloodstream, but we realize then that we love this little child more than we could love anything else in our world, in our life. And so we are then trained to put everybody else first. And our challenge is to remember that if we don't nurture ourselves first, we might not be here for others. So I always encourage my clients to learn to put yourself first, and don't feel like it's a selfish thing to do, because it really is just like a car battery being charged up so that the car can do the distance. And we're not being selfish when we stop for fuel, because if we don't, we can't possibly help anyone else as well as we possibly could. So it's about filling up your own cup first and then overflowing that with others. So when we're looking at our lives, it really is about keeping things in balance, and remembering that those energy centers really do tell us so much about our lives when they're blocked. And when we get them back into balance, we start seeing things through a different filter in our mind, and we start acting accordingly. So we do fill up our own cup. We start to work with our own creative spirit and nurture ourselves, not to be selfish, but so that we can fill up and share with the world, so that we can then give out at a much better way, and share what works for us. So Next chakra is the solar plexus chakra. So that is, ribs come here, solar plexus chakra is just below the solar plexus, or just on the solar plexus. And again, here's the photo. So the solar plexus chakra is yellow, and that is our center for personal power. And now what that means, it's our center for self-esteem and confidence, and knowing that we can overcome obstacles as they're thrown to us, because we are presented with so many challenges in our life. And when that center's out of balance, we tend to feel really overwhelmed, like we can't possibly get through it. And what I want everybody to realize is you've gotten through everything else so far. Most likely you're going to get through whatever this current challenge is as well. And so when we start to really get that, we step into our power, and we know that nothing can defeat us, because we are energetic beings, but we are also living this human life, and we're never given any more than we can handle. And so what I find with women, if that center's out of balance, it's usually underactive, and that means they won't stand up for themselves, they won't stand in their power, they won't ask for help when they need it, they won't put boundaries in place with people. If it's a man, quite often it's spinning too fast. And when that's, and I'm not really meaning males and females, but if that center is spinning too fast, it generally means that there can be aggression, there can be a power struggle thing. It can be that that person then feeling angry and even violent when that center's out of balance. So see how this can relate to your life. And so what we want to do is just bring things back into a state of balance. And when we're balancing someone's chakras in a balancing session, or a Reiki session, or even a Touch for Health session, or even hypnosis, because hypnosis works energetically. Once it clears the emotions, it'll get the energy back into balance as well. But when we're working with people to help them do this, once all those centers are back in alignment, the person that's chakra was underactive will then find that they're able to stand in their power, they're able to ask for help if they need it, they're able to put boundaries in place and learn to say no. And generally the person whose center may have been overactive will learn to calm their farm. So it's all relative, isn't it? And what we need to remember is these chakras they're kind of cool, because what they do is they draw in from the universe through that aura, but they also send out to the universe. So it's kind of like a filtering system. It draws in, it sends it out through the body and back out again to the universe. And the energy is in a constant state of flow and flux. However, when we've got emotional things going on in our life, it can block that flow of energy, firstly in the outer field of that aura, and then it can move into manifest as illness or injury on the body. And so here is another image from the book, and it says blocks in the aura show as a dark color, hernia shows as a tear on the 7th level aura. So more in depth, you'll see there that there's a shadow over that, over 2 of the chakras, but there's also a murky color. So when we're looking at things psychically, we'll see those colors, when they're in balance, they're really nice and bright. Now, Barbara Ann Brennan also says that these centers have lots of little circles in amongst them. And so you see how they work like a funnel when you look at that. And so when the energy is murky and blocked, it shows as a cloud over those centers as well. Pretty cool stuff, isn't it? Now, there's also a couple of other images here as well. So when we look at this one, this says 3 layers of vision, 7 layers of vision. So when we're learning to see auras, what we find, in fact, is that those layers closest to the body are connected mainly to the chakras, sort of one at a time as the layers go out. And although we mainly talk about 7 chakras in the Indian system, it's known that there are lots and lots of layers, and they move out through that aura, and even up to the 12th layer. And when we're talking about chakras, we know that there are also chakras below that base chakra and above the crown chakra. But that's for another lesson. And so we are now up to the Heart Chakra. So the Heart Chakra is not just about love, and it's not over the heart. It's right in the center of your chest, and its color is green. And the Heart Chakra is all about loving kindness, compassion, forgiveness, all forms of love. And so when we're looking at this center, it means that if we've got an issue with our actual heart on an energy level, that generally means either giving love or receiving love. So we might block that heart so that we're protecting ourselves so we don't get hurt. And so that center can also mean that we can carry around anger, which really is to do with the solar plexus chakra, because the liver is connected to that center. But with the unforgiveness can be anger and resentment and bitterness, and those things can harden the heart, which means often issues with the arteries. And it also means that we kind of forget that truly the yin and yang, there's no right, there's no wrong, there's no judgment of one thing being better than another, but we need to have the darkness in order to appreciate the light. Within the yin yang symbol itself, there's the light part has a spot of darkness, the dark part has a spot of white, but both those flowing energy fields, the yin and the yang, the feminine and the masculine, they're always in a constant state of flow and flux. And so it is with life. So when we are in a state of anger, bitterness, resentment, we don't have compassion for others, it means that we're not just understanding the true nature of our existence, and that is that we are energy beings living this human existence for the lessons our soul can learn as we overcome. So when it comes to the Heart Chakra, we kind of need to reach out and understand everybody's doing the best they can with what they have. And we're all going to make mistakes, and we're all going to have misjudgments according to the way we process things based on the history of our own lives and our own level of mental and emotional development at the time. So when we truly forgive someone, it doesn't mean we tolerate or excuse what they've done. It simply means that we no longer allow them the power to hurt us. So it means we no longer act according to what they've done to us. Then we're able to just love that person for who they are, but we don't have to accept the behaviors. We want to keep those two things separate. And it really does start with self-love. And we've also got to let go of feeling angry or bitter about the things that we've done, the mistakes we've made in our lives too, because the only purpose that really serves is to really learn the lesson and decide we're going to treat people more decently in the future if we have made some mistakes. So as this center is cleared, we come back into filling up our own cup, we come back into self-love, we come back into putting boundaries in place and telling people what we will and we won't accept in behaviors, so we don't put up with or tolerate bad behavior. We also come back to forgiveness and say, not my circus, not my monkeys, that's your opinion, I don't have to agree with you. Bless and dismiss. We let go of the bitterness, because you see, anger and bitterness screw us up on the inside. What people don't understand, when they feel so angry that somebody's hurt them through their lifetime, and they'll often go, I'll never forgive this person. But what we need to remember is that person might have hurt us 20 years ago, and they're still off living their life, while we are sitting here punishing ourselves for our whole life by being bitter and angry. And this stunts us, and this causes physical problems. It causes illness in the body and in the mind and in the energy field. And as we bring these centers back into balance, we let our energy flow, and that's really what it's all about. You see, emotion is energy in motion, and when that energy gets stuck and it's not flowing, we get blocks. When we've got blocks, the subconscious is really kind of part of it's the mind body, and so it's really all about helping us to deal with those blocks in a way that's going to serve us rather than punish us for the rest of our lives. So open your heart and know that you are lovable, know that you are loving, know that you're loved, that there's something special and unique about you that no one else brings this world. Otherwise there'd be no reason for you to be here. Choose to love and accept yourself, and choose to treat others in accordance with the way you would like to be treated, regardless of what they've done, but don't give them the power to hurt you or destroy the future for you simply because they've made a mistake back in their life. So it's about filling up with self-love first. Overflow that and share that with the world. Now also, I wanted to also mention, when we're doing energy work, we're using our hands for Reiki, and our hands are simply an extension of our heart center. So when we're doing a workshop, for example, we initially are training people before they've been attuned to Reiki to fill up, to imagine that Crown Chakra opening, drawing in heavenly chi or energy from above, and even sometimes imagining the tree roots going down to the center of the Earth Mother to draw up earthly ki or chi, so that that energy then fills us up. And when we come to the heart, we can then send it down through those arms, and our hands, as I said, are an extension of the heart center. So when we're doing healing, we're really sending love. We're sending that person, that client, loving kindness, compassion, and we just intend that they use it for their highest good, whatever that might be. And we don't always know what that is, but it's about just filling up first and again overflowing. So the next chakra we want to work with is the throat. And as I said, it's blue. Where is that picture? So it's a beautiful blue. And the throat chakra is about communication. And when we find that that chakra is blocked, again, we don't stand up for ourselves. So don't forget, all of these centers are all connected. And so it means we don't stand up for ourselves. We don't speak our truth. We don't tell people how we're feeling about things. We just zip it and keep it down and push it down. And we just don't communicate honestly with people. And when this center's cleared, you'll find the words just come to you. You just speak without having to worry about it, and you speak from the heart. You tell somebody what it is that's bothering you and how it's been making you feel, and then you tell them what you prefer instead and how the change would make you feel, and get an agreement from them. So that in itself is assertive communication rather than being aggressive. It's about just being firm, fair, straight, and true. Now this center actually has 6 chambers around it, and energetically, and it doesn't just deal with speaking your truth. It's the truth of all the chakras that were below and above. So it means that we are connecting information from all those other centers and sharing it out through our voice, if we have a vocal cord, if we're not mute. But it's also about drawing in knowledge as well, and how we process information that comes from outside. So it's not just the throat, it's the eyes and it's the ears as well, because we're taking in that information and processing it, and it's communication. As we start to clear that center, we are then able to see through the anger or the sadness from somebody else, and really sort of get to the heart of it and get a close connection, heart to heart, through the throat, by understanding more easily. So that's a really interesting one as well. So the next chakra is the third eye, and everybody's heard about the third eye. In fact, when I did my master's training back in 1997 with Reiki, when I was having one of the attunements, I saw a big eye, and it was like this big, and it was just blinking really slowly. It was a big purple eye, kind of bizarre, just a vision. And I remember thinking to myself, is this the eye of God looking into my soul, or is this my third eye opening? And I still don't know the true answer to that, but I do know lots of my Reiki students have visions of eyes, sometimes big ones, sometimes small ones, sometimes thousands of them. And so I do believe that it probably is the third eye, because when we do things like Reiki attunements, we're actually opening some of those chakras up so that that third eye vision can start to come through. Now everybody has different psychic abilities, so it's not a lesson on psychic abilities, but some people are more clear seeing, and some people are more auditory, so they hear things. Some people just know stuff, and I'm one of the knowers. I just know stuff when it's about to happen or when it's happened. Like if I lose something, I'll just know where it is. And in fact, I've probably got lots of stories I could share with you on the knowing. And one simple one, and we relate this back to the third eye, to that instinct, and that's the center for instinct and psychic abilities, and it truly is for clear seeing, but clear knowing as well. Now, when many years ago, when we were running Chizen Health Club, when it used to be in Macrae Street in the main street of Dubbo, just half a block from where I am now, many years ago, I left my home in Gipp Street, and I normally would go straight up Gipp Street, turn at Talbragar Street, go down those 3 blocks, and then I'd be at work. And so this one particular day, I got to the highway, and for some reason I put the blinker on and I went to turn left, and I thought, that's bizarre. In all these years, in 10 years, I've never turned left here. I always just go the easy way, straight up and turn. And so I just, in my heart, I just knew that this was psychic knowledge. This was a gut feeling. I have to go this way. And then I thought, well, I'm just going to second guess this. I'm going to find out what it is my soul, my subconscious knows more about than I do. And I'm going to go against my gut feeling and see where it takes me. So I took the blinkers off and I went straight ahead for those 3 blocks. I put the blinker on to turn into Talbragar Street, and the whole road was blocked off. So it just made me chuckle, because I thought, I already knew there was something here. Now, I know so many people that have the same experiences. Now, I've also had 5 years in a row when Kim and I would go up to Valor Beach to visit his mum and dad. His father, dear old Pa, used to be in the Lions Club. In fact, they've named the shed after him, the Don Macrae shed, which is pretty cool. But we would always take Pa down to the Lions Club fair. And for 5 years in a row, I would win something. And I just remember the first time I did it, I said to Kim, wouldn't it be nice if I won that dinner for 2 to give to your mum and dad to thank them for us always being able to come up here every year for Christmas and for holidays? And Kim went, yeah, rightio, yeah, sure. So because I went over and I had to pull a peg out of a board, and I pulled it out and I said, this is the winning ticket. This is the winning peg. And 2 seconds later, I said, you just won. You won this dinner for 2. I went, you beauty. The next year I went, I said to Kim, I haven't tried to win anything yet. Watch me go over and win this bike. I'll win this bike for Cooper. And Kim says, don't be so bloody stupid. You won it before. And besides, we can't take a bike home in the car. So of course I went over and I won the bike. And he was a little bit disturbed, and he said, well, that's not fair. You've got an unfair advantage. You can't have the bike. We're not taking it home. Donate it back so they can raffle it. And that's what I did. And so the next 3 years, again, I did something similar with different things there. And I'm sure lots of you have got similar stories. I mean, many years ago, I had, when my son Nick was 13, we took him to Wellington. And this was actually before I'd done any Reiki training, I believe. It was before I'd done any Reiki training at all. I took him to Kim and I took him to Wellington for a football match. And they came around with tickets to buy a ticket for this Australian footy Guernsey. And it was signed by the Aussie Roos. And the funny thing is, as soon as I got that ticket, before I bought it, I said, it's a bit big for him, but he'll grow into it. And then I just got the ticket and I said, this is the winning ticket. And everybody just laughed. Kim did too. And of course we won that the following week. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, I just know. I've just got that gut feeling. I just know that's the winning ticket. I don't need to discuss it. That's the winning one. And a week later we went to Parks. And again, I got a ticket, and it was in a little mini fridge for the car, like an air skid that you plugged in. And as soon as I had that ticket, I went, oh my God, this is my ticket. This is winning ticket too. And Kim goes, that's not possible. You won last week. You can't possibly win it. And I went, I know, but it's just that feeling. And of course I won that as well. Another year we went to Warren, and Kim and I had a band for 15 years, and we were playing at a function out there, and his friends that he went to university with were there as well. And Jenny and I were sitting at a table, and the lady came over and she said, oh, Carol, Jenny, you forgot to get your lucky door prize. Carol, here's yours. Jenny, here's yours. Jenny turned around and I just said to Kim, that's the ticket. That's the winning ticket. We're just going to win that. And he just chuckled. And so the lady took them, and Jenny took mine, and so she handed me the other one. And I said to Jenny, that's the winning ticket. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, I just know. You're a lucky girl. And so it wasn't that I made it happen. It was just that I just knew stuff. Just like a couple of other times. So I'm on a rant now. A couple of other times I was going for a jog over the bridge, and lots of people know this story. And I went from our house in Gipp Street, and I went and went all around Sandy Beach, and then I came back and came home, and I realised that I'd lost my FPOS card, my bank card, out of my bum bag that I had. Now it was 5:30 at night by the time I got home, in the middle of winter, and it was pitch black outside. And I said to Kim, I've lost my card, I'll go back and get it. And he said, oh, don't be so bloody stupid. He said, you've just done that jog around there. There's no way you're going to find it. Besides, it's pitch black outside. I said, I've got my phone, it'll be right. I know I'll find it. It'll call to me. I'll just know. And he just laughed at me and he said, yeah, right. So 15 minutes later, I was back with the card. I was jogging around. I got down near Sandy Beach. I didn't even get into the beach part. I was still on the path, and I just went, it's here somewhere. I just know it. And I just turned the light on, and there it was, 2 meters behind me on the ground. And 6 months later, I went for another jog, and I went down the little bridge and up over the other side, over West Dubbo Bridge, over West Dubbo, all the way up to the other bridge, and came back. And got back into my car, and I realised I'd lost one of my earbuds. So me being a smarty, I thought I'll go home and get my computer, because I've got Find My Phone, and it might find my earbud as well. And so I came home and I realised that the program on the computer, it didn't actually show you where the earbuds were, it showed you where the case was, which was in by my bedside. So I just said to Ken, well, I've lost it, I'm going back to find it. And he said, there's no way you're going to find it, it's this small. And I said, it'll call me. I don't even question me, because when I get that feeling, it's always right. And of course, I jogged down and across the little bridge, and I was coming up, and I went, it's here. So I turned around. It was about 1.5 meters into the long grass. I saw this tiny speck of white, and again, that was my earbud. So that's our third eye chakra. And what I want you to do is start realizing it's always right. The third eye chakra is a connection to your higher knowledge, and it is a connection to your higher self, really, your subconscious, your soul. Everything's connected. And when we get that knowing, it is really our subconscious mind and our soul telling us, you need to listen, you need to take notice. Because if we start to live in accordance with those gut feelings, their purpose is really to steer us in the right direction towards our dharma, or our purpose for life. And as we start to tune into that, we find that it's like a guidance system that can lead us on our path. So if we're not sure about making a decision, what we're meant to do is focus on the feeling that feels right. When we think about that outcome, which one feels a little bit lighter? And sometimes that might be so close, we just don't know, because our rational mind's trying to do what's right, and it might not actually be in accordance with our path or our highest good long term. So we can negate it, certainly, but if we could just tune into it and follow that guidance from within, we would find our whole life started to flow a whole lot more. So the final chakra we're going to talk about today is the Crown Chakra. And as I said, generally we consider that as a violet colour, a beautiful purple. And I want you to think of it, even the bishops wear purple. So it's the highest of the spiritual colours. And it is your divine connection. It's your connection to your higher self. It's your connection to your Buddha nature, your godlike nature, your angelic nature, and the oneness of all that is. Now, when this center comes back into balance, we stop looking at people as our enemies. We stop looking for differences. We start looking for similarities. We realize that, in fact, we are all breathing the same air. We all drink the same water. We all eat similar foods. We all have the same worries, wants, and needs. And in fact, we are like limbs on a tree, because what affects one affects all of us. And as we start to come back into that real knowing that every single thing we do has an impact on everybody around us, like the butterfly effect almost, when we start to truly understand that, then we start looking for similarities. We start looking to try to understand people's motivations for the things that they do and to understand them more deeply. But we then start to think, you know what? I'm just going to treat people the way I would like to be treated. Now, isn't that the main spiritual message we get from all the spiritual leaders through life, through Jesus, through the Buddha, probably through Krishna? All of those spiritual masters did actually teach that same lesson. to treat your fellow man the way you want to be treated. And so what we also know energetically is that what we put out comes back tenfold. Now, it might not always come back from the same person, because we might be really kind to one person, but it might come back like a boomerang and hit you in the back of the head. You'll do a kindness to one person, then someone else out of the blue will just come back and energetically return that energy back to you and just show a kindness to you. So everything has an impact. Everything leaves an imprint on the energy of the cosmos through time and space, through every lifetime. So don't feel like I don't matter, I don't have an impact. You are here because you're meant to be here. You're here because there's something you bring this world that no one else can bring. And when we start to truly understand that, not only do we treat our fellow man the way we would like to be treated, we start to treat ourselves as if we were somebody we loved. We treat ourselves the way we treat a best friend. We fill up our own cup, we share that with the world. We come back into a state of balance. So to top up, those chakras are red at the base, to do with feeling safe, strong and grounded, knowing where you stand, survival in the physical world. The sexual or sacral chakra, which is orange, to do with your creative spirit, a sharp creative mind, to do with nurturing yourself first before you worry about nurturing others, so that you're not running on empty all the time, to do with really just, taking time out every day to fill up your own cup first. And that means to work with your creative spirit, whether that's just going out and doing a little bit of gardening or going for a walk, that is just something that gives you that inner peace. Solar plexus chakra, your point of personal power. So you'd start to really understand that we are never given any more than we can handle. And in fact, we have the power within us to create our world the way we want to, by the things we let people get away with, or the things that we tolerate, or the things that we don't. But to also know that no matter what's thrown at us, we've got the power to overcome. And as we overcome, we gain the strength and resilience from knowing that we can do anything if we put our heart to it and our mind to it. The Heart Chakra, to do with loving kindness, compassion, all forms of love, forgiveness. And it's also, the green is also the color of healing. So when we think of healing energy, and we think of that green, and we think of it as connecting to nature as well, all of those things are healing, but love is the thing that heals. There are only two forces on the planet, and that is love and fear. And fear is just the absence of love. So I want you to start to think of it that way. And so the Heart Chakra is about filling up again, loving others, loving yourself, and moving through forgiveness so that you can connect from the heart. And remembering that the arms, the heart center flows down, or the energy from the heart flows down. When we're doing healing work and we're laying on of hands, we are basically sending love, kindness, compassion, forgiveness, and love to the person on the table. The throat chakra is blue. That's to do with our communication, the words that we speak, what we tolerate, what we don't, the boundaries, or even asking for help, because many of us struggle with that one. And it's also to do with understanding the true meaning behind the words that others use, so that we start to really see past their anger or emotion and get to the heart of it. The third eye chakra, again, is indigo, and that's to do with your psychic gifts, your instincts, your gut feeling. So start to trust those. It'll lead you in the right direction. The crown, which is violet, or in some systems it's white, and it is to do with your higher connection, your connection to your divine essence and the oneness of all that is. So that is a very quick lesson. It's probably not that quick now, but it's a lesson on chakras. I'll also show you very quickly a couple of other pictures from that beautiful book, Balancing the Auric Field of a Patient. So when we are doing healing work, I'm trying to make sure that's up the right way. We are drawing energy in from the universe, from above and below. We're filling up our own energy cup, and we're overflowing that into the energy field of the other person, so it clears their blockages, which then promotes healing and balance mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Barbara Ann Brennan says that when she is doing Reiki, or not Reiki, she doesn't do Reiki, she just does spiritual healing. Same thing in my book, pretty much, except with Reiki we have attunements to open the chakras. So she says that we've always got our angels and guides there to assist, and she feels that there. There's another one of the aura and of the chakra and auras. This is another picture from the book with the chakra points, but also lots and lots of different layers. Well, the 7 layers of the aura, the 7 main layers of the aura, and that's another workshop. And here, this will be the final one I'll show you. And here is the image that Barbara Ann Brennan sees when she does a healing. She says there are always angels and guides assisting in that healing. So I hope you've enjoyed our little session here, our little workshop here on chakras, a few minutes to just teach you, because I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. I'm a Reiki master and teacher. I did my Reiki training originally in 1998. I've also done Komio Reiki Do, which is another form of Reiki from Hayakuta Ninamoto, a Japanese monk. And that was really insightful, really a little different to the Reiki that I was traditionally taught back in 1998. I've done Touch for Health Kinesiology, so again, we're working with energy meridians. I've done Theta Healing, where we go up through the layers up into the light, right through those 7 layers, and we bring that knowledge down and that energy down as a download to help heal people. I've done Yi Dao training, which is another sort of emotional energetic system. I've done what else have I done? Kinetic Shift, which is I would call it energy hypnosis, and I don't do it exactly the same way as I was trained, because I had Reiki do it and kinesiology and that sort of stuff too. So really, I work with the mind, I work with the body, and when we put them all together, we can use lots of different tools to help clear those energy blocks in your chakras and in your aura and in your body and in your mind. So it's all about mind-body balance, mind-body healing. So this is Carol Macrae in Dubbo, and I'm from the Mind Body studio, and I just love the work I do. I just think if we find something that works for us, that heals us, we can share it with others. So I've got other videos out there. Just check them out on my YouTube channel, and if there's anything else you'd like to learn about, let me know, and I'm happy to do some more workshops online, some more little sessions on teaching you things, because our job on this planet is to learn what works for us, as I said, fill up our own cup, overflow that, and share knowledge that can help others as well. So have a great day, guys, and I'm off. My client didn't arrive, which is why I had the time to do it. They're sick at the moment with good old COVID. And so I just see everything as an opportunity for me. That meant I've got time to do this workshop just for you. Have a great day, guys, and Carol Macrae signing off in Dubbo. Bye. Namaste, my friends.